what tips. I'll give the tips to save the cost also. Okay, but the renting the cloud is much cheaper than buying the hardware. For example, you want to do the image classification or video analysis, all the things you have close to let's say, 1,000 images are there. Let's say in your CCTV in your apartment, they show 1 terabyte data is there. So in that case, the video files are the sizes of each video files are very big. Every 1 hour, if you see, right, the file size are the size will be for even for 1 hour video, it will be very big size. So in that kind of situation, you need a higher capacity. Okay, to put it simple, you just go ahead and sign up. You just you have to use your credit card. Without that, you cannot sign up with AWS. The same thing is with Google Cloud and Azure Cloud. Once you sign up, you're all set. You can right, you can log in there. Then let's assume that you have signed up now, and with your login credentials, you are going to sign it. I just clicked on sign in. Now it got logged in here. Okay. Now you can see various services here. Okay, you have something like EC2, code pipeline, code deploy, IAM, billing and cost management. So this is okay. This is for billing. Okay, and then you have something code build and CloudWatch, S3. Likewise, so many services are there. Okay, if you click on this one, right? 1 second. If you click on in the search, also you can go and check it out. For example, I have something like ECR. If you type ECR, you can see Elastic Container Registry. You can see all kind of services here also. Okay. And for example, SageMaker. You can see Amazon SageMaker AI, and AWS Lake Formation. Likewise, lots of services are there. And if you want to see the AWS Glue, you can type Glue. So using Glue, you can do ETL, ETL, extraction transformation loading, that you can do it. And then AWS lake formation is there. Likewise, so many things are there. So what we will do is, right, in our case, now just assume that you just now you signed up and you want to create an EC2 instance. EC2 is something like a virtual server. Okay, I just click on the EC2 here. What I'll do is I just right click on it, and then I just kept the cursor here, right click on it, open in link in new tab. So it will open up the EC2 instance here. Here you can see the Elastic, EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. And even for professionals with the cloud background, or they are in high demand. Okay, so make sure that you are learning cloud also very well. Anyway, as part of this training, you'll be learning it. Okay, we have separate workshop for AWS Cloud also. Don't worry, we will include you. You can also attend that. So the EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It's an Amazon thing. And if you want to create a new virtual server, you hit the launch instance. When you hit the launch instance, what will happen is it will take you to the instance creation page, the Linux server. And guys, remember one thing very clearly. If you want to be MLOps engineer, and if you want to be a cloud engineer, if you want to become a master in cloud, AWS cloud or any cloud, you take any cloud, you need to be very good with the Linux operating system. That is very much important. Still, many of our Indians, they are familiar with Windows system only, but Americans, they work only with the Linux system most of the time. Okay. Because Linux is, for example, simple example, if you want to install some new software, you can install it. All you need to do is once you install the software, you need to start the service, check the status, it will be up and running. You don't have to reboot the system. When it comes to Windows, when if you want to install any new application, it'll ask you to be, Microsoft will ask you to restart the system, right? Here, that is not there. That is one of the advantage of using Linux, and also there are various other advantages are there. Hence, master Linux. Okay, it's a very interesting one. Okay, here I'm going to specify my server name. Okay, the virtual server name. I just say Iris model. So Iris flower prediction. Okay, you can give whatever name, but yeah, so you can, but don't leave space. Okay, iris space flower, it will not work. Iris underscore flower, and sorry, iris hyphen flower hyphen prediction. This is the name I gave it. And here, if you see Amazon Linux, see in Linux, various flavors are there. Red Hat is there, and Ubuntu is there. And I could see most of the videos in YouTube and even in Udemy, they use Ubuntu operating system. Okay, Ubuntu is not used in the real world scenario. Most of them use Red Hat, and Amazon Linux is somewhat similar to your Red Hat only. Almost what are the commands that use it, the same thing is you'll be using it here also. And likewise, various Linux flavors. This is a Mac OS. This is not Linux. This is a different thing. And yeah, so Windows is there. Windows and Mac OS. Whichever operating system you want to install it in your virtual server, which you are going to rent it, right? So you can choose it. Since Linux is the one you used in majority of the enterprises. Okay, almost 99.99 enterprises, US customers I'm talking about, they are using Linux only. Okay, maybe they'll be using Amazon Linux Red Hat. Okay, so by default, Amazon Linux got selected, and then if you see your Amazon Linux AMI machine image and free tier eligible. Look here, I could see that I'm eligible for free tier, and yeah, this is the one. If you want to choose any other thing, you can choose it. But guys, don't choose apart from the free tier. The cost is very high. On a case-to-case basis, you can explore it. Okay, that we will tell you later point in time, right? Which one you can choose it for, what kind of project, all the things based on our past experience with the various clients. We'll explain you. And next thing, simply scroll down. Instance type is T2 to micro. Okay, T2 micro, and here they mention the cost also. Okay, if you are using Linux based, right, on-demand Linux, Windows, 0.0162 US dollar per hour. Okay, and if you click on the drop down, you can see various options: small, T2 dot small, and T3 dot small. Likewise, various things are there, right? But by default, the free tier is there. Simply close your eyes and take that one. The next one is the key pair. This is very much important when it comes to EC2 instance. You can click on the create new key pair. This is for security purpose. This is for security. But once you create a key pair, make sure that right you are going to note it down. Okay, and just say something like key pair for Iris. Give more some meaningful name. Okay, but so that later point in time when you work with multiple projects right, so you can distinguish which one is for which key pair is for which project. Okay, and here that's what I mentioned. And you have some different key pair types. RSA is there, ED, and PEM and PPK. AWS is when it comes to AWS, the security is very, very high. Okay, you take any cloud, the same thing is available. But again, I have seen lot of security. So everything, right? See, to some there are cases. Believe me, guys, to deploy the model. So to deploy the model, whatever the task that you need to do it, maybe it will take 2 to 4 hours time. As if, let's say you are an experienced person, 2 to 4 hours, you can finish up uh, developing the all required components and creating pipelines, everything. But end of the day, we spent more time in attaching the policies and policies and security policies and creating roles, assigning the roles. Even after assigning the roles and attaching policies, still it creates problem. You will not be able to run your app or something like that. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to scare you now. Okay. Keypair, Iris. Okay, that's what I mentioned. And I'm going to hit the create key pair. Look here, what it is, once it gets created, the PEM, okay, different PPK is there, PEM is there. The file name ends with PEM, okay, and you have an option to choose PPK also, okay, KPI. This had I chosen PPK, what would have happened is the KPI file would have downloaded. So what is the difference between these two? .ppk file, the key pair will help you to connect your cloud remotely from your laptop. What do you mean by remotely? You can install some application. We have something called Putty, Putty. You can install it. It's a free open source. Install it. So there you specify your remote Amazon the server's IP address, everything. And then what you do is you can, using PuTTY from your laptop, you can connect it to the Amazon server remotely. Anyway, we'll discuss that later sometime. So now that I downloaded that file, make sure that you are not going to miss this file. Okay, this is very much important, especially when it comes to PPK and all. If you miss it, you cannot get it back. Okay, again you need to rebuild it. So and now I just named the key pair as KP Iris. Network settings you can see here. These are the network settings we can see here. We can something, these are the default thing, okay? Auto assign public IP, and this gives me some network ID, everything. And here allow SSH traffic from, allow HTTPS traffic, all the things. Now what I do is I'm going to simply bypass the stringent security policies, all the things, and anywhere. Okay, so in real world scenario, you are not supposed to use anywhere. If anybody knows, the hackers, they will take you for granted. Okay, and if you scroll down here, you can see the configure storage and how much root volume we needed. Better you can go by the default settings here. Simply scroll down on the right side, you can see launch instance. Can you all see it at the right side? Launch into instance button, you just hit it, it will create a new instance. So if your payment is due or something, that you will not be, they will not allow you to create more than one instance. Remember that. So every month, for the first week also, you need to make the payment. If you don't make the payment on time, what will happen is still you can use it. But thing is, you cannot create more than one instance. So now my instance got created successfully. What is instance? See, I just created a computer. You just think that way. In the cloud, I created a computer for my um, practical purpose, right? I want to practice something. I just create a virtual server in the cloud. Okay, fine, good. So I'm going to hit the instances now, this link, and here you can see the dashboard kind of thing. So you can see, I already created four instances. How four instances are running. The two of them I stopped it intentionally because to cut the cost. Whenever I need it, I'm going to start it. Okay. So now you can see that the newly created instance iris flower prediction is there here. Okay. So what I do is you can see, yeah, you can see the status also here. Under the instance state, you can see running state. And what is the instance type? Micro. And here I have used the extra large, X large. Okay. This is slightly expensive. And if you scroll towards the right side, you can see various things. I'm not going to discuss about all these things at this moment. It's too much for you now. Okay. So now I have created a EC2 instance. It's something like, I create a computer for myself. So I need to use it, right? I'm going to select this one here and I'm going to hit the connect button. I'm going to hit the connect. When I hit the connect button, I could see something like this. Ignore everything and simply hit the connect button. When you hit the connect button, it will take you to your Linux instance, AWS Linux instance. This is my computer on cloud. It has Linux installed on it. So it's what Linux? Amazon Linux. Very good. So this is a dollar sign. You can see the prompt here. So here most of the time you work in the command line only. There is no GUI. In Windows, you just click on this thing, you select everything, right? Here it is not like that. You need to do everything command line only. You should be very good at command lines, commands. For example, if you want to see the content in this folder, I just type ls, list the files and folders that are available in my root folder. According to me, the root folder, what is my root folder? As soon as you log in here, you need to type pwd. Pw stands for present working directory. Home EC2 user. This is what your home directory. So, okay, this is what home directory. So I just now created a computer for me on AWS Cloud. Now I logged in here and then I just typed pwd. It gives me the home directory for my user ID. The username is EC2 user. This is what the default username, okay? Username. And the pwd gives me present directory. Okay, what is the root directory or current working directory? You can say. And you can also create directory mkdir. For example, in mkdir, here I'm going to say data. And then if I type pwd, still I'm in EC2 user. If I want to switch to data, cd data, if you can, sorry, you can give cd data. It will take you to that folder. And clear will clear the screen. And again, type the pwd. So we often use pwd to make sure that which directory we are in currently. All right. So currently we are in data folder. And if I want to go back to the previous one, cd dot dot, I can give it. And then you can just, check whether you got switched to the previous folder. Yes. You got some idea about now what is AWS EC2 instance. Like EC2 instance, various other things are there. Okay. And we'll discuss about various other services later point in time, advanced concepts. We have something called AWS substep function, and we have AWS glue and lambda function, when to use lambda function, when to use SageMaker, when to all the things. We'll discuss it in detail. Okay. And also you can watch my videos also down the line and start practice it side by side without wasting time. So what I'll do is I just close this EC2 instance. We have already created an instance just for you to give the sense how to create a EC2 instance, Elastic Cloud Compute on cloud, right? I just gave you the demo. I'm going to close it now. I'm not going to use it. And also I'm going to click on the drop down that is there next to the instance state here. I'm going to stop this instance. You have various options: stop instance, reboot instance, terminate instance. Once you are done your job, for example, you want to build an app. For that, you need to have a system, isn't it? You want to have a computer, but in that computer, Linux should be there. In my laptop, I cannot install Linux. If I have to install Linux in my laptop, it will overwrite my Windows. But still, dual boot is there. But it's very, you will not get dual boot. You need to have extra brain to install the dual boot, or it takes time. It's a time-taking thing. Okay. So in that case, right, I want to test some my application in Linux. Go and rent server in virtual server in Amazon Cloud or something like that. And then once you are done your app development, click on stop instance so that they will not charge you Amazon. If you leave it as it is with the running state, every 1 hour, right, they will keep counting. It's something like auto meter. Okay, the meter will run. And so what happened for me, the Microsoft Azure last month, they sent a bill 1 lakh rupees. Okay, I was literally panicked. Okay, fine, that's a different thing. I dealt with them somehow. Look here, either you can stop the instance or you can reboot the instance and terminate the instance. Terminate, it will kill that instance. You will not get it back. And stop it, yeah, if you stop the instance, you can start it at a later point in time. Reboot is something like rebooting your laptop. Sometimes your server will hang. So better you can go here and reboot it. Okay. So for the time being, I'm going to terminate this instance. I don't need it any longer because already I have three other instances got created. Now that you understood what is EC2 and how to create an EC2 instance, which is nothing but launching an instance. Okay, now you can see that successfully initiated termination. This server will disappear soon. Okay, and now I just select the iris deploy. This is what my previously created EC2 is, the same way how I demonstrated now. Okay, so now I want to connect to this EC2 instance. For that, I just selected this one. You need to hit the connect button to connect that. And if you scroll down, you can see the connect button on the right bottom. Hit that, it will take you to your command prompt, Linux command prompt. Yes, we are here. What are the next steps now? Now what we do is, we'll see how we can deploy this simple model, the iris flower prediction model, right? How we are going to do that. So for that, what I do is, we have something called GitHub. We have something called GitHub. Just 1 second, please, because some office thing are there. I just Yeah, so here you can, this is our GitHub. All of you can see, right? This is called your GitHub. So what I did in my Windows system, right? What I did, we have something called GitHub. Already I discussed about GitHub, right? So Git and GitHub. And again, we will have the hands-on session side by side for the Git also. Git and GitHub also, we will run some sessions side by side, so that you need to be grasp all the things. You need to arm with many skill sets here. Okay, Git is very much important. in the real world scenario, real-time projects. Okay, so this is basically for version control. I already explained you, right? What is Git and GitHub also in the last session. What we did, we have created the folder structure for this project. Okay, and in this project, right, we just we checked out or we pushed all the entire folder content from my local laptop to the GitHub. Okay, there are some commands are available. You need to first create the repository in the GitHub. Okay, once you create the repository in GitHub, you need to git clone it to your laptop so that the clone, which is nothing but the copy of the um, your repository, GitHub repository will be available locally in your laptop. So once that is there, right, what it is in that folder, you just create all the files, you test it, everything goes fine. You can push it to the GitHub. So here you can see the folder. See here, look here for this project, I create some ML Iris demo project, and for different workshop, we give different demo. For that, we created many things here. And at this moment, you just think, right? We have some SRC folder, the source folder. We kept all the required files. Okay, all the required files and the script files, all the required script files and the text file, requirements.txt file, all the things. And then we have something else called scripts file. This is where also we kept some script files, and this is what your models folder in the GitHub. So model.pickle file. Once you train your model, you need to save that trained model. In this case, I have saved the model with the .pkl. We have something called pickling and unpickling. The interview, they'll ask you what is pickling and unpickling. We'll discuss this a little later, okay? First, understand the big picture, and then let's get into the nitty-gritties of each and everything, okay? So the model.pickle, okay? Likewise, this one type of, this one, right? The pickling, okay? The dot model pickle. So once you upload it in your GitHub, the model.pickle, you can reuse it later point in time. You don't have to retrain your model every now and then. Once you train your model and save it somewhere here, right? So GitHub also later point of what you do, simply load this model in your other application, and then you can show your new data. The model can predict what class that specific new data belongs to. It will make a prediction. Okay, what I will do is, right, for you to understand the big picture, I just explained. So this is where we create. So once you upload all the necessary files, the data files, script files, and the Docker file, and then the requirements of TXT file, everything in a centralized place called GitHub, you can reuse it anytime, irrespective of the location. For example, you left your laptop in your home, now you move to, let's say you went to Bangalore for some other business purposes, and you get your friend's laptop. You can access the files, whatever you already push it to your GitHub repository, irrespective of the location where you, something like cloud, right? Yeah. So it's a centralized place where this is basically for code version control system. Okay, version control, we use GitHub. So I just created the folder structure and we have uploaded here all the necessary script files on everything. Fine. So now what I do is I go to the Linux EC2 system. This is my this one. Is deploy. Yeah. So what I did, for the sake of convenience, right? I just kept all the files, whatever we see it there in the GitHub system, I kept it here. Okay. So there are different repositories. Usually the best practice is you just git clone. You create a repository in the GitHub and then you clone it to your Linux system also. Here also you can install the Git software. Okay. Git software and GitHub you can access it using Git. Okay. Git is something like the client. GitHub is your server. You just think that way. Okay. So you need to use you need to install Git also here to access GitHub. Fine, guys, everything is good. Okay, and we'll go back to this step. Data extraction, data pre-processing. So for each and everything, we need to have a script. I told you in the previous session, we can have, for all these steps, we can have it in a single script file. That is what by a Jupyter notebook. I kept everything in a single notebook. I can execute it, but that is not the good practice. You need to make sure that your script is a modular. modular. For example, tomorrow you wanted to add two additional columns or the which is nothing but the features, two features in addition to the existing columns. All you just go and touch this script only. You don't have to touch other things. Once you make changes here, and that's all, okay. And in between you have some testing also will come into picture. You can code validation, everything, okay. It'll just unit test and integration test. It will be triggered automatically, and then your model will get trained automatically, and then the trained model will get evaluated automatically. Because of space issue, I just put to only one thing. So this for training. Similar to you just think another thing is that this is for evaluate and validate, and other one is something else, okay. And before that also we have other process is there. As I told you, let's start with the baby step now. Let's understand slowly with a simple example. Okay. So as I told you, to train your model, before train your model, make sure that you have the data in place, whether the data is available locally or is that available in data lake or is that available in S3 bucket. In AWS, we have some S3 bucket. You can upload the data in S3. Like GitHub, as I told you, once you upload the data in GitHub, irrespective of the location where you have, you can access the data. And also you can allow your team members or your friends to access the data that you stored it in your GitHub. Likewise, S3 is a bucket. Once you create an S3 bucket in AWS, you can store the data in your S3 bucket itself. In S3, we have a storage type called storage option called storage service called S3. Okay, S3 stands for simple storage system. Okay, we can store it. It is scalable. You can store a huge volume of data in S3 also. Okay, you can store it in S3, or if you want to use data bricks, you can use so the data bricks, and a different database are available even with Amazon. Okay, let's simply assume that my data is served in CSV file. Okay, customer has given me the CSV file, fine. So now what I need to do is I need to create the different components. One is for preparing the data, and other one is for adding additional columns, with my existing data. This is basically right. To improve my model performance, I have created additional features along with the existing columns or features. Okay, and then I'm going to train the model and I'm going to evaluate the model. All these steps we are going to do it. So here I have used different Python. So each thing I'm going to use a different Python.py files, Python files. Okay, you can use any IDE. You can use what is that VSC code. Okay, Visual Studio Code. You can use it. That is the one is used by most of the people, and it's all depends on your project. You can still go ahead and request customers. Once you get assigned to a project, you can tell them, you are comfortable VSC code. And if they are approving it, you can use VSC code to develop your application. One advantage of VSC code is you can do check-in, check-out. In case of any change to the file also, it helps you to track it. Okay, enough advanced topics, so many topics. Okay, now I want to give you the feel of how, after deploying the model in production, how it looks like. Okay, so look here, all these scripts, instead of using GitHub, whatever the files that are required for my project, I just copy pasted it here. You just think that way. Okay, and I have something like train.py. Inside in this file, I just show you what is there in this train.py. I'm going to use something called Nano. This kind of editor. Okay, using Nano, it's kind of opening your notepad file. Okay, so VI editor is very popular. Which one? VI. Whenever time permits, you go and practice VI also. So guys, you don't have to use AWS all the time. You can go to the Google. What it is, Linux, no, Linux online compiler, something like that. You just type it in Google. Go here, and but not all the online thing, right? It will support the Linux, the AWS Linux commands. You can go here and you can, yeah, you can, sorry, here it is not online bash. Tutorials point is there. Yeah, you can type the Linux commands here. These are, the economical way of learning the Linux commands. Okay, Linux commands. Echo. It's something like print, right? In Python, use print to print the text, right? Something like that. So echo is equivalent to print, echo hello world. And here you click on the execute. When you click on execute, this gets executed. On the outside, on the right side, you can see the output of this line, right? Hello world, it got printed. And then if I want to see something like here also print is there, print 2 plus 2, or I just say simply, right? 2 plus 2. Okay, I'm going to click on execute and command not found. Okay, your main.sh, I just say print 2 plus hello world, right? So this is hello world, print 2 plus 2, and syntax near unexpected. Okay, here, okay, the 2 plus 2 itself is sufficient. Okay, or what you do is, right, you can use the variable b is equal to 2 plus 2 and echo $b. I think so. This one will give me even the certain things, right? I don't remember it, the other compilers. So I'm quite compiler kind of comfortable with this one. Okay, the AWS Linux. Here, what it is, I'm going to use a nano, uh, so the editor, and here I just show you the train.py. Okay, train.py. Here you can see that the content of the train.py, you can see the same thing. You can see it in your notepad plus plus also. Okay, in your laptop you can see it. But how to use nano, you need to be knowing it, because you'll be working in Linux system most of the time once you become MLOps engineer or data scientist. Okay, and that is it. And here you can see all the packages, necessary packages. I imported it, and then these are all Python packages, and this is where I'm going to I just specified my data set name, iris train.csv. And then what happens, it does the pre-processing. Okay, as part of pre-processing, all the features will be stored in a variable. The labeled output variable will get stored here. So you remember the four characteristics: the setosa, length, sepal width, sepal length, and then petal length and petal width, right? Those four characteristics are called features. Those four input features get stored in a variable x. I just stored it like this, and then the species your label variable, right? So labeled variable, output label, and that one I just stored in another variable. And finally, what we are doing the train and test split. And if you see here, model, you can see somewhere fit here. Okay, the model dot fit. So in this case, I've used a classifier by the name of random forest classifier, and I just fitted this random forest model using the training data set, the input features and the label output feature. And finally, what I do is, once I train my model, in my case, the model name is model. What I did, right? So I just use pickle.dump to create that as a .pickle file. Basically, what I'm doing is, once I train my model here, I just save it. Once I save it, I can use it later point in time. I don't have to train the model every time. If your data also, guys, remember that in the real world, the volume of the data is very, very huge. Every time to predict the, your new data, already trained model, if you want to apply it more the multiple times or a daily basis, you want to make a prediction, you don't have to, do the entire thing every time. Okay. All you need to just, save the model. Once you save the model, you can reuse it, right? It's something like pickles. You prepare pickles at home, right? Once you prepare it, what you do? So you can use it for the next 3 months or 6 months. Same way, once you train your model, you save it. Once you save the model, you can reuse it whenever you need it. Okay, I saved the model here, and then what I did, I just checked the model size. The model should be at least 1 KB or something like that, and then what did I just evaluated the model? What is the accuracy of my model? Okay, creating the model is fine. How well it does, how well it performs. Something like, okay, we have manufactured a new car, fancy car. It looks so fancy, so nice. Everything is fine, man. So what is the mileage it gives? Mileage is a matrix using which you will check whether that car is really worthwhile, right? So, and mileage you will see, and also you compare various other things, right? Similarly, once you develop a model, you want to check the model performance. We use something called accuracy score, using which you will evaluate the model. What I will do is I just press Control X to come out of this. Control X to come out of the Nano editor. Nano editor is very much developer friendly. Look here, wherever you want, you can go here. And if you want to add anything, and like how you do the changes in a notepad, you can do it the same way. Once you are done with this, press Control O to save this, and then press enter, and then Control X to exit from this. Since I made a slight change, it says save modified buffer. I just press Control N, it'll come. Sorry. Here I just say, yeah, N, right? You need to specify N here, it'll come out. That's all. I just came. So train.py, using this script, I train my model. So what I did, the for this, I have used a script called train.py. Within that file itself, I'm doing all the steps in a single file itself. Like I showed you in the previous workshop, for each and every component, I have used separate script for housing prediction, house price prediction, isn't it? Here, to make it simple, because this is the first session that you are going to look at how to deploy the model manually, right? So I just used all the steps in the single train.py itself, okay? When I execute the file, what will happen? The model will get trained and then it will get saved. Once it gets saved, what I do is, as part of my script itself, I have written a logic in such a way, the trained model will get uploaded into my GitHub repository. Okay, fine. Okay. Because if upload the trained model in my GitHub repository, I can use it anytime, isn't it? For example, if I don't want the Amazon AWS EC2 virtual server, after a while, I can terminate it. But still, my trained model got saved in my GitHub. I can use it later point in time, isn't it? For that purpose, you can store it there. Fine. Okay. Once you train your model, you need to package it, guys. You need to package. That's where we have something called Docker comes into picture. That we will see it a little later. Okay. First, understand the big picture. Okay. Train.py, you understood. Okay, fine. Well, I trained the model and uploaded it there. So next one is we have something called app.py. Okay. App.py. One second. I'm getting some call. What? Give me a minute. Okay, sorry guys, I'm back. So now you understood the train.py, that the script is helpful to do that data ingestion, data pre-processing, feature engineering, and then train the model, save the trained model. Fine, everything good. And then say that the trained saved model will be available locally in my virtual server, that I want to smartly upload it into my GitHub also, so that later point in time I can reuse it even if my virtual service no longer available. Very good. So far, so good. Next, what we do is we want to deploy the model. Okay. Once you train your model, you need to use it, right? There is a way to, you need to, there is a way. So the model.pickle I have uploaded in cloud, fine. Do you think the end users, those do not know the ABCs of data science, do you think they know how to use model.pickle? They do not know. So you need to give an interface, user interface, for your end user to um, type in the sepal and petal width and length, and then they need to and then when they hit the predict button, it has to give what kind of flower is that, what type of flower is that. So for that we use something called Flask. Okay. um, because everyone, we cannot expect to know Python scripts, right? So what we do is uh, if you right, so that's where the Flask comes in. There is Flask. What is a Flask? Flask is not our coffee flask. Okay, Flask is a lightweight web framework. Okay, lightweight web framework. So using which you can turn your trained model into a web service. Using Flask, you can turn your trained model into web service, so that once you deploy your model in a in a website, right, in web server, right, so anybody across the world can use your application, the model application, whatever the model, iris model you developed it, you deployed it on cloud, people across the globe can use your model. See, other example is the stock price prediction, right? So if you wanted to have some application to make a prediction about specific equities before you invest the money, it will be convenient, right? So what you do is you can use that app. If that app is available in cloud, what you do is, hey, I want to buy Wipro and TCS or Infosys stock prices now, and you just type the number of quant that you are going to buy and the price, everything. Now you just type it, feed in, and then hit that button, the predict button or forecast button. Within a few seconds or jiffy, you can, if you get the predicted or forecasted prices for those the equities, right, you'll be very happy. Okay. So the same thing, right, happens here in this case. So we need to deploy the model on cloud. Okay. So for that, we are going to use something called Flask, because everyone, we cannot expect to know Python to download your pickle file, saved pickle file, and execute it, right? So that's where the lightweight web framework called Flask comes handy. So what we do is we can turn our trained model into web service. Okay, what is a Flask, sir? That's what I said, right? It's a Python-based web framework, Sailaja, using which you can create APIs, okay? So users can send data and get predictions, okay? And it handle requests from users. Basically, which one? The Flask. Once you create an API, users can handle the request. Sorry, the APIs can handle the user request and run our model on a server. Okay, it runs our model. These are the three steps. What a Flask does? I explained what is a Flask. Flask is a web framework. Okay, so what is so big deal? So how it is helpful, right? So we can, with Flask, you can create APIs. Once you create APIs, what user, how it benefits? I can send queries to your APIs. Your APIs give me the answer in terms of the predicted values. Okay, the APIs basically handle the requests from users, run your model on the server, so that the end users need not know Python, they need not to get access to our saved model and all, right? Okay, how does Flask work for our iris prediction? Okay, what happens is the user, they can send their data to our Flask API. The API Flask, what it does, it receives the data and it loads the trained model, make a prediction, send the result back. Very simple, guys. I just show you here. What I'll do is I'm going to see. I have another script called app.py. So what I do is, in this script, I'm going to load the trained model, right? In this app. See, this script helped me to produce a model, right? So it gives me a model. This gives me a model. Okay, this produces a model, right? So because I saved the model, okay. The output of this script is model.pkl. This is the one is saved model. Okay, so in this model, what we did, we trained this model with some data, the iris historical data. That's all. So app.py, using which, right, we are going to reload this model, and then in the app.py, what we are doing is we are going to serve our trained model as an API. We are using the app.py to reload the model.pkl file, and then what we are going to do is we will serve this trained model as an API, so that the end users need not know what files they used it to predict this one. All they need to do know is the interface, right? All they need is interface, because you are going to give them an user interface. I have index.html also. It has the JSON, sorry, the JavaScript and everything is there. Okay. Okay. Enough talking. What I'll do is I'll just Python 3.12. This is my Python thing. Okay. Command line. I'm going to type app.py. This file will get executed by Python. Okay, if you want to execute any Python file from the Linux command line, you need to type Python space and then the whatever the Python script you want to execute it, you can execute it. Okay, and here since I am using 3.12, I just put it explicitly 3.12 and space app. This is the file I want to execute it. What this file does is it turns our model, or it will serve our model, our train model as an API. Look here, what happened? Now we could see that the URL here, right? So what I'll do is I just go here. So what is my EC2 instance in this case? EC2 instance name is Iris deploy. And in this case, I just go to the networking. And if you see here, the public IP address for this EC2 instance, you can see it here. Sorry, the public IP is here, right? I just click on this one. It will get copied, the public IP address. I go to the browser here and then I paste it. My Flask API is running in the port number called 5000. I just press enter. You can see the magic. Beautiful, right? I just saved my model using train.py as a model.pkl. Using the app.py file, what I did, I have used the Flask application with a web framework, and then what I did, I served our trained model as an API. This is called your API, right? This is an API, okay? So now what you do is, right, you can, now what you do is you just type the input features. For example, if the length of the flower is 6 and the sepal is 6 and the width is 4 and petal length is 3 and petal width is 1, right? And then hit the predict button. At the bottom, you can see the predicted output, vesicolor. Hey, a flower with these characteristics is called vesicolor. Got it? Similarly, let's say you want to predict an housing price. This is an interface. At the end of the day, the end users across the globe, they are going to use this website only, right? Yeah. So here I just mentioned the IP address. So what you do, you give some server name, and then once you give a server name, people can use this as server name and they can access. I think previously in the EC2, I used to get the instance name. So actions, view details. When you go to the view details, you can see the server name also here. Yeah, this is what your server name, correct. Public IPv4. I just click on this one. You just go here, or simply what I do is I just copy this one instead of clicking this one, and then here what I do is I just say colon 5000. Press enter. Look here. Instead of giving the IP address and all, right, you can give the server name followed by colon 5000. So what they notice, you as an end user just type in the values here to get to know what kind of flower is this. So let's say you have some flowers, the length of the iris flower sepal is this one. The sepal width of that flower is this one, and petal length and width. You just key in here and then hit the predict button. It will give you the category or the specific the name of the species what you have it in your head. It's beautiful, isn't it? So in the case of iris, the housing price prediction, let's say instead of iris flower, let's say you have the housing price prediction. Here you just enter the size of the house, and then here you just specify the age of the house. You just think that way, and then your four fields are there, right? The size of the house, age of the house, and the size, age, and the location, and also the number of rooms in a house. You just type all the things, and then hit the predict. With this profile, it'll or with this thing, right? When you hit the predict, it'll show the estimated price for that house. Oh, for this house, let's say you have 3 bedroom house, and let's say here the size of the house is 1,700 square feet, and the age of this one, and then number of car park or number of this one. Nowadays, number of car park also matters, isn't it? So you enter it and then hit the predict button. It tells, hey, the estimated price for this house with these things, right? So it cost 2.6 crore or 3.5 crore, something like that. Okay. So end of the day, users across the globe, they can use this URL to make a prediction. You are serving your model as an API, okay, to the users. Users are right. Users can send these measurements, the clever measurements, via this API request, like this, okay, like this API request. You are making API request via this URL. Got it? So this is how it works, guys. Okay, and then I will explain you each and everything, right? So the script, what is there in the script? Can you please explain it everything step by step? That is the one we will see it later. Okay, and most of you trained on Python, right? So I will share the script also. You can just take a look at it and then see that if possible you can sign up with AWS as soon as possible and get started, and then start practicing the Linux commands first. Okay, what is ls command dash? What is ls minus ltr dash? And awk script, if you want, you can learn it. And to there are some customers they use cron job to schedule the job. Okay, in that case, you should know what is cron, how to schedule some simple tasks, and then lot of materials on the Google also, and also watch my previous Python videos and start practice it. So the next step is, yes, so now we just simply deploy the model. Usually the practice is right. So what they do is before they deploy the model, they package all the things into a container. We have something called container. So Docker container, container is very much powerful. You need to, once you develop your model and once you test the model, if the model performance is really good, then what you do is you are going to package that model using something called Docker. So what is a Docker? Docker is a container. Okay. So we use the term like something like once you create your model and once you test your model performance, everything is good. You need to do containerization, which is nothing but packaging everything. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Now the question is, what exactly Docker is all about? Okay. What is Docker and why should I use Docker? And now without using a Docker, we have deployed it. Okay. Um, what is a Docker? Let's assume that you build an application. Okay, this classic example is we have developed a model, right, in our laptop. You just think, in my, instead of EC2 server, I developed, or, right, even EC2 server as virtual server only. And that's my private server, right? I have created my model in my laptop. But if, if you want the same thing to be run on another EC2 instance, like I created one EC2 instance, you have created another EC2 instance, right? If I want the application, my application, which I developed it and tested it in my EC2 server, the same thing should run on your computer, right? What will happen is, if I share the script, it may not work because of missing libraries, right? Or other issues, right? So we need to install the packages, everything in your laptop also, everything. Rather, what we do is we install all the necessary packages, the libraries and everything, right? We will package it and we'll give it to you as a container. The in the shipping yard, they have container, isn't it? So on the container, they ship our products to the other country using using the via the container, right? They put all the things in a container and then they put the container in a ship and then ship it to someone else. So, right. So the simple other example is the fan example I use it. Let's say you bought a ceiling fan, and the ceiling fan, once you buy it, right, they'll give you the packed one. When you unpack it, you can see the motor will be there separately, and then the blades will be there separately, screws will be there, nuts will be there, and so many other things. The stand, the fan stand, ceiling fan stand will be there. That is the one, the rod has to hold the fan, right? All the things will be there. And all the things they will put it everything in a single box and then they'll give it to you. What that is, before giving it to, they'll test it everything in their place. That's called your development environment. And then once they ship it to you, to your door, so all you just unpack it, just assemble everything, and then you fix it. You're all set. If I send each and every part separately, what will happen? There could be chances, right? What will happen? So if I send it, only some portion of the parts, you may not be able to install. You will say, "No, the fan is not working here, man. So some parts are missing, some issues are happening because of which my fan is." Same thing is happening here to overcome that issues. Hey, things are running in my system, but the same thing is not running in your system. To overcome that issue, here's something called packaging. That is nothing but containerization. We use Docker in most of the projects to do the containerization, package everything, install all the application, everything inside the container. Install all your container, the applications, everything right inside your container. And then when you ship it to other environment, it will work. So package, all your application into a container so that can run anywhere. That is the whole idea of Docker. Yeah, so what happens is, right, yes, good question. For example, in my EC2 server, I rented EC2 server in AWS Cloud. There, I'm using Python 3.12, but you are using some other version, Python, in your EC2 server, right? In that case, again, you need to install the latest version of the 3.12 and install all the packages in your thing. That's a, additional pain. They need to do everything. What you do rather, right? Hey, don't have to worry about installing everything. All the things, I'll package and give it to you. It's something like, they give you the fully furnished house. They give you fully furnished house. You are a busy executive, you don't have to buy, you don't have time to go and buy each and every furniture, you don't have to do plumbing, you don't have to do everything, right? Everything is readily available. All you need to just occupy that building, you are up and running. That's all. That's what Docker. And what we'll do is in the next session, we'll see how to define, how to create a Docker application, how to do that. And slowly what we do is we will increase the complexity. I will use separate components in the next demo. And then how we are going to tie all the components into a pipeline. So these are the single things, right? If you combine everything into a single thing, that is called your pipeline. All the tasks that are required to create your train your model, all the things, right? That is called your pipeline. That's where the CI comes into picture. Okay. Okay, there's a there's a definition for CI. I'm not going to discuss about this. And the packaging, the Dockerization, all the things falls under CD, the continuous delivery, right? So yeah, that is what deployment, continuous deployment. All the things we'll see it in the next session. And I believe all of you have enjoyed this session and you are able to understand in case of any questions. Yeah, Sailaja, yes, I can answer your question because it's more of non-technical thing. We'll discuss it later time. Okay, yeah, Flask also you need to install it. Yeah, I'll just show you. We have something called requirements.txt. What I will do is I will run through the file called Docker. To build a Docker image, right, to do the containerization, you need to have a file called, good that you asked, and you need to have a file called Docker. Okay, I just show you here. Here is my repository. I just go here github.com. So this is what my EKS is. Okay, here I just show you this one, my simple example. Okay, my ML project. And here, okay, Docker file Jenkins is there. And I'll just show you. Okay, let me just check. I'll go to I just click on the logo here. The logo, when you click on it, you can see everything here. One second. Where is the repositories? Okay, okay, I just take this one. Even here, I don't have the Docker file. Okay, we have some other repository. I'll check with our team I don't know where they kept that repository. Yeah, they are using different repository. This is the one is for different user ID. Yeah, this is for this one, and we have some other repository. Okay, I just go to the other one. This is where our repository. This is another repository. Okay, this is another user. We are using more than one account. Okay, this is one account. The other one is other account. And here, if you see here, Docker file.txt will be there. Okay, Docker file. So that's kind of a configuration file. So look at Docker file. I just, yeah, already opened it. Yes, this is what your Docker file. Okay. So what we do is we have some requirements inside the Docker file. What I did, I just created a working directory by the name of app. This is all happening inside the container, guys. Inside the container, I'm creating some app.folder and then copy requirements.txt. So requirements.txt is there already in my GitHub, the root folder. What I do is I just copy this requirement inside my container so that when I ship my containerized application to you, all these, okay, now the question is what is there inside the requirements.txt? All these are the libraries or packages, the dependencies, okay? All the dependencies that are required to run my application smoothly in your system. What I did, I just install all the required packages, libraries, and right, including the Flask application, everything, right, and then I will ship this one to you. So the requirements.txt contains Flask also. Okay, it will look here pip install requirements.txt. What happens is the requirements.txt contains all the required dependent libraries listed here. Using pip install, I install all the required package inside the container and then expose these services using the port called 5000. Okay, expose 5000, port number 5000 for Flask. When you run the app.py, right, it is the one using this port number to expose your model to the outside world using this port number. Understood, guys? So, once you do the containerization, you don't have to worry. It's like a fully furnished apartment we give it to you. You don't have to buy any furnitures. No, you're all set. Okay, we'll see, how to build the Docker, how to run the Docker. So why you need to run the Docker, how to build the Docker and how to push the Docker to the repository, everything in the next session. Okay, and parallelly, what we'll do is we'll continue with the data science algorithms, okay, side by side. And I will share the link also for that to continue with the logistic regression, the classification model. All right. So now we got a big picture, everything, and I'll share the script and watch this video. I'll share the link to this video also. Start practice it. Don't postpone it any longer. Everybody